Hey everybody, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. This is Ty. I'm going to be discussing Neblio. Neblio has gained a lot of traction lately, and I think there's a big reason why. We're going to take a look at what Neblio is, what it does, a look at the website, the social media, the team, the white paper of things I've highlighted. This will just be an overall look at Neblio. Neblio also announced that the new Orion web wallet is out for private release. The public release will be in a couple days. We're going to look at some of the features this has. I'll tell you what I think about Neblio, what I like about it, and then some of my concerns. We'll take a look at price predictions compared to similar coins like Neblio. Now, what is Neblio? Let's look at it. Neblio is a next-generation blockchain cryptocurrency solution for businesses and enterprises. It allows developers to create decentralized applications to interact with the Neblio blockchain. Neblio will have a suite of APIs in almost all of the popular programming languages, allowing developers to interact without having to know complex details of the blockchain technology. So basically what Neblio is its own platform blockchain technology. Its goal is to allow developers to easily interact with the Neblio blockchain and create decentralized applications. It uses a Restful, simple API to interact in multiple different languages. They want it to be as easy as possible, and I think they're doing a good job at it. So let's take a look at Neblio. If you haven't subscribed, please do for videos like this and more to come. Starting at the Neblio website, you can go there at NEBL.io. I like the website. It's clean, it's professional, and it's simple, which it should be because Neblio is all about simplicity. It talks about the coin NEBL being the lifeblood of the system. One thing you need to know about Neblio is it's a 100% proof of stake coin. There is no proof of work, so there is no miners mining Neblio. In order to stake your coins, you must run a full node carrying the entire Neblio blockchain. There's a lot of debate on whether proof of stake or proof of work is better. There's a lot of people chiming in. There is no debate, however, of proof of stake being better for the environment. The business value is to simplify the complexities of the blockchain. It's decentralized and secure. A lot of coins claim they're decentralized, but Neblio really is decentralized, and it would be secure, everybody running the full node. There is a frequently asked questions on it, and then they have an updates page, and then they will post like how to. They have a how to stake right now. They have a pretty active community. There's a Slack, a Telegram, and a Discord. I'll tell you right now, being in all of them, the Telegram is definitely the most active. There's not as many people on Slack or Discord. One thing I really like about it is the founders are active on some of the channels. They will answer some of the community's questions. Don't expect your question to be answered from them right away, but I see this a lot in coins where the founders and developers don't really interact with their community unless it's in an announcement. I really like this about them is they do communicate with the community on their channels. They are also on Reddit, which is a fairly active one, and then Bitcoin Talk. Looking at their Twitter, you can see they have almost 70,000 followers. They're not as active on Twitter as I'd like them to be. They post about once a week, and then they have some retweets. But I really count just posting as a activity. It doesn't take much to retweet stuff. But they post about once a week, sometimes once every couple weeks. They haven't started marketing yet. They start marketing in Q2. I expect their Twitter to get a lot more active once they start their whole marketing initiative. Next, let's look at the founders and the team with Neblio. The founders is Eddie Smith and Ann Jackson. Both of them have quite a bit of experience in the corporate world, working for Fortune 500 companies. Eddie came from Cisco. He worked there for 7 years and then went to Capital One before starting Neblio. Ann came from HP. She worked there for a really long time before she started Neblio. Ann is kind of the business and management side of it. She has a master's and bachelor in business related fields. Eddie is the developer. He is an experienced developer. He has his bachelor's in computer science. He doesn't have any experience in blockchain development, but he is an experienced developer. I think this is a capable team. I wish some of them had blockchain experience, but I don't think this discredits Neblio at all. They have a marketer and then 2 other developers. One thing I noticed that I didn't really like too much is on their LinkedIns, which it does link on their LinkedIns on the website. I don't put a whole lot into this, but Yuval, he's an internet marketer, but he doesn't say anything about working with Neblio, so it means he probably is doing many different things. It doesn't look like he's working it full time. And then you look at Riley. Riley, he is a data scientist for Swish Analytics. His main job is Swish Analytics. It doesn't look like he's working at Neblio full time. And then same with their other developer, which, you know, if he's working that full time and then working Neblio on the side, I don't know how much time they have to dedicate on Neblio. I'm sure they work very hard, but I wish their LinkedIns would show that they are full time in Neblio. I think that means quite a bit, where I know we have all of their attention and they're working just on Neblio and don't have a full time job. Like I said, I don't know, but this is just what their LinkedIn say. Next, let's look at their GitHub. Their GitHub, I really like it. Here's a couple things I like about it. They use C++ as their primary language. You don't want to see a GitHub full of Java. C++ is the language that they should be using, and only using Java on specific applications where they need to use Java for like apps or something like that. But primarily they're doing everything in C++. You see a ton of activity on there. On March, just in a few days, they've had 6 commits. In February 2018, they had 67 commits. They're very active on that. That's what you want to see on their GitHub. I really encourage you to always look at a coin's GitHub. Look how much activity they have, how many commits they're doing, and look how recent their activity is. Have they updated it? Are they still working on this thing? Neblio has a lot of activity, and it is recent. There's so many coins that they just aren't very active, and it's a long time ago. There's also coins that they have a closed code where you can't look at the GitHub, you can't see what they're doing with it. I stay away from coins like that because I like an open and transparent coin, or it's something I'm invested in. I like to know what's going on, and they're actually working on it. They're not here just to make money. With that, I really like Neblio's GitHub. They're active, they're consistent, they have a lot of recent activity. They're doing a great job. Most of the language is C++ with a little bit of Java. It's a good GitHub. Let's go ahead and get into the white paper. This is an overview. I'm not going to go line by line through it. I encourage you to read it because it's a really good white paper. One thing I really liked about it, it's a really easy to read white paper without a bunch of filler words. It's just really clear and easy. They first talk about what are distributed applications. Distributed applications can access and store pieces of information on a blockchain, and typically these applications have a front end. They give a great example of how they can help an industry. That industry is the medical industry, which has a lot of problems. One of the problems are records. Records are usually stored on a central server or multiple servers. That server can be destroyed or become corrupt. That's a big problem if your medical records are destroyed. You don't want that. Along with that, people can alter those records, and there's no trace of that alteration. With a blockchain, every block has the previous blocks. Any alterations or changes can go back and you will notice it. With the medical industry, you're not going to go and look at every single block though. It'll just show you the most updated block. But you can look at the previous blocks and see if anything has changed. You can't destroy the information. You're not going to go and destroy or corrupt all of the people using full nodes. That'd be a really difficult thing. Nothing is impossible, but it's a lot harder to do than a central server or just 2 or 3 servers. This isn't a new concept. There are coins dedicated to keeping medical records, but this is an innovative way of someone to create something maybe even better to keep medical records. Going into it, I highlighted this. Neblio platform is built from the start for enterprise distributed application development, a suite of RESTful APIs in almost all of today's popular programming language. They're trying to make businesses and enterprise be able to interact with their blockchain very easy. They're going to offer a suite of RESTful APIs to help them. A RESTful API is just an application that uses HTTP to pull information requests or change it. Also, being able to use a lot of the popular programming languages, that is a big deal. A lot of these platforms, they expect these programmers to learn a whole new language. If you're able to use the language you already know, that makes a barrier to entry a lot less, and a lot more people are able to communicate with the blockchain and develop applications to communicate to the blockchain. I thought this is a really big deal for Nebula. Going in, the tokens are proof of stake. The block times are 120 seconds. With proof of stake, if you are staking your coins, you will be hosting a full node that contains the entire Neblio blockchain. Staking coins is a great idea. It's a good passive income. You can expect about a 10% return in coins. That means the inflation rate with Neblio is about 10%. The next thing is the participants should have no expectation of influence of governance of Neblio. So just because you own the coins, you don't own the company, you just have coins, and there is no expectation of price. But with the platform being built, you would think the price would go up, but they're not giving you any expectation of price. Going into the roadmap, I like the roadmap. It's a good roadmap that lays out for the next 2 years. It's not overly ambitious and can be realistic, but they will have to work very hard. In Q1, the Neblio was born. In Q3, they held their pre-sale and ICO. The ICO price was 20 cents. Neblio is now over $17. I wish I would have gotten in at the ICO price. That was a great return. Another small tidbit was that the founders did not have funds just set aside for themselves. I haven't really seen this in ICO. Most of the time, these ICOs, 30% of the funds are set aside for the founders and marketing. The founders actually bought these coins just like everybody else for themselves. I think that is a very honorable thing, and not a lot of people know that about it. In Q4, the Electrum Light Wallet, along with Android, iOS, Raspberry Pi, and Docker, they've done a great job at that. Let's look at the wallets. There's a Electrum wallet that you can download. Android, iOS is a different story. They have the iOS done, but they're having problems with Apple. Apple's not a very crypto-friendly community as far as accepting it on their marketplace. They've had a lot of problems with Apple. If it gets denied, then they have to wait 10 days and then reapply, and then Apple takes like up to a month to say it's denied or not. And it's been denied a couple different times. They're having a hard time. Hopefully they can get it on the Apple marketplace pretty soon. They also have a Raspberry Pi wallet. It's great if you want to buy a Raspberry Pi. They're super cheap. You can stake your coins on it, and they have a Docker. So they've done a great job on keeping up with the roadmap so far. They have all the wallets done that they said they were going to get done. iOS, not really their fault. I think it's more Apple. Apple's been more and more aggressive towards crypto apps. On Q1, they are talking about the open source Restful APIs. So there we're talking about using APIs to interact with the blockchain. They're soon to come out with their Orion web wallet to the public. Right now it's in beta. I don't have a beta, but there's a couple of videos that I'll link below. You can see kind of a preview, and with that, we'll kind of go into it after we get done with the white paper. In addition to the current strategies, they're going to go ahead and do a huge marketing campaign in Q2 of 2018. There's not a lot of activity on their Twitter, and there's just not a whole lot of announcements. But in Q2, I think you should be able to expect maybe, contests and a lot of Twitter activity, and dedicating a lot of resources in marketing and making sure everybody knows what Neblio is. If you want to get into the coin, it might be a good idea to get in before the marketing where it really goes out to the masses. Q3 will be a beta release on the Neblio API Suite, not version 2. We'll kind of go into that a little bit further when we're in the white paper. On Q4, they're going to implement and deliver the API Suite version 2 for enterprise customers. This is a big deal, and that's a lot to do before the end of 2018. In 2019, they say they're going to have a larger industry-wide adoption, and then they are going to go kind of past niche markets like medical, and who knows what can happen on that, especially with the version 2 API suites. We'll see what happens. I think they've kept it a little bit open-ended so they can update their roadmap and continue and change it as they learn in the process. Next, they talk about the simplification as enterprise adoption drivers, basically talking about how it is really complicated for enterprises to adapt to the blockchain because there's a lot to learn and they're going to have a simple API to communicate with. The RESTful interfaces will be able to create new or adapt old applications to use Neblio blockchain to store and access information without knowing complex blockchain details. So basically, it'll be very easy to interact with their API. They want to make it easy for businesses and enterprises to get into blockchain. They talk about security and immutability. Users of the Neblio network are incentivized to run Neblio nodes. We're incentivized because of staking, so we get passive income if we stake our coins, which helps the network. The greater number of wallets currently staking tokens, the more secure the network. Kind of like how proof of work, the more hash power there is, the more secure the network. So the more nodes or the more people staking, the more secure because that's less points of failure. Information is always stored on the blockchain via additional rather than modifying existing data. Talking about what we talked about before with the medical records, you don't modify old blocks. That is a permanent thing. You just add more blocks. And so you can't go back into old blocks and change. This is very important and it fixes a big problem with records. Stability and reliability. Every functional node contains an entire copy of the Neblio blockchain at all times. So if you're running a node, you contain the whole blockchain and help the network. How they're going to help is secure record management. They're really going to focus probably on health records or allowing people to create applications of storing health records, regulatory and compliance audit trails, and the Internet of Things and big data. Design driven by simplification. Our APIs are being designed for simplicity first. They really hammer in simplicity and how easy it's going to interact with it. Developers familiar with existing RESTful APIs. RESTful APIs, this is a common thing that most developers are familiar with, will feel at home using the Neblio API suite in the language of their choice to interact with the Neblio blockchain network. The languages supported, they have a lot of popular languages, so barrier to entry is going to be very low. They support Python, JS, .NET, Objective-C, Java, Node.js, Go, and PHP. The RESTful architecture design, the API layer can be called directly with raw HTTP requests, which is the RESTful API HTTP request, or via one of the language-specific libraries. So they're going to make different libraries for all the different languages they list. A REST endpoint Neblio node listens for an appropriate HTTP request and corresponds to an API process. The API call then performs action and returns data back to the caller. So the nodes will be listening to HTTP requests and then add information to the block. Enterprise-driven requirements. Version 2, this is where they're talking about version 2 and what it's going to do. Version 2 of our API suite will be designed around the feedback and design requirements we receive from our users. We are open to designing or implementing new APIs that meet the requirement of our users. So they will have version 1 and they're going to get a feel of what people need and want, and they're going to adapt to it. In version 2, they're going to try and adapt to what the community wants and what they desire. I really like that they're trying to be organic and change of what the community wants or what they think might help the marketplace with Neblio. Business services, they will have blockchain consulting. So they are going to help these enterprises get into the blockchain. Like I said, their goal is to try and get as many people on the Neblio network. They're going to consult and help them with their applications and interacting with their API. Neblio node deployment and hosting. They will offer custom Neblio node deployment. Customers may want a Neblio node deployed in a specific configuration at, for example, each of their main offices around the globe. So they can have custom nodes, like they can have it in their offices or hosted on the cloud. They will help them set that up and help them with this. They will also offer private blockchain development. Again, with the medical records, you are going to need a private blockchain. Not anybody can access those records, and that is going to be important. So it'll be a private blockchain, not on the Neblio main blockchain. And that's about it for the white paper. Like I said, I think this is a great white paper. This is a simple read, very clear. Whoever wrote it did a great job. You should read the white paper. It's just an easy read, and it's pretty short. It's only about 20 pages. Now I'm just going to tell you a couple things about the Neblio web wallet. It's called the Orion. They just released the beta release, so there are beta testers. They're soon to release it to the public. With that, you'll be able to access the wallet from any browser you want. On it, you can create your own custom token. And to create your own custom token costs less than a cent. I think that's really neat too. And if you are creating your own custom token or doing ICO, it is going to help Neblio, because just like Ethereum, a lot of people know Ethereum because there's so many people that use Ethereum for ICOs. It'll gain popularity and adoption the more people that use ICOs. Along with that, the transaction fees on that will go a small portion to the Neblio network. If you're creating a custom token, it costs less than a cent, and it's just really easy. I'm excited about this. They should release it pretty soon. There is already an ICO that's using Neblio. It's called credit.io. I haven't really looked at it. I don't know much about it. They don't have their coin yet because obviously this web wallet is not out yet, but it's called credit.io if you want to look at it. There is also going to be a decentralized exchange that's in the works already. It's called Neblidex, and those of you kind of familiar with Ether Delta, where you can host any of the Ether Delta ERC coins on it, you'll be able to host any of the ICOs or coins made with Neblio. And it has the token sale right now. I haven't looked into it that much. I'm probably not going to invest in it, but I just think it's really cool that there's exchange already in it. There's a lot of faith in this project, or people wouldn't already be making it a decentralized exchange for it. That's about it right now for the overview of the white paper and everything with Neblio. Let's take a look at the price. Like I said, with the ICO, it came at 20 cents. Great time to buy. I wish I would have got in on the ICO. It's at $17.44 now. The market cap, $224 million. At its peak, it was a $775 million market cap, with the coins being over $60, and then everything kind of got dumped after January 14th and 15th. It has had their decline, but this could be a really good entry. We've seen this thing, and compared to some of the other coins, it could be a great entry. I am not invested currently with Neblio, but I think I'm going to put a small stake into it. This is not financial advice. Do your own research. This should be just for entertainment purposes only. I strongly encourage you to do your own research if you're going to invest in Neblio, and that way you feel good about your investment. I think the best way to look at where this price might be is first look how high it got. It was over $60. Personally, I think it will hit over $60 easily before Q3, Q4. This should be, as long as the market continues the way it is. I think a good way to get an idea of where Neblio's price might be is to compare it to some similar coins. Those similar coins are Lisk, Stratus, and Neo. I don't think it's really fair to compare it with Ethereum because Ethereum has been around for so long, it's got so much adoption, and it's more open-ended. I think the more comparison would be those three coins. So let's take a look. Let's look at Stratus first. Stratus has a $800 million market cap. If Neblio got to that type of market cap, which it already almost did, it was at $745 million, then you would be looking at the $70, about the $70 price or so. Looking at Lisk has a $1.9 million market cap. Now that's about 9 times its value. If Neblio got to there, it's going to be around $140 to $150, which I think is achievable. And you can talk to a lot of people in the community, and I think that's pretty achievable. Maybe not this year, but possibly next year. Looking at Neo is a more open-ended platform, but I think it is important to kind of compare it to Neo as well, of seeing maybe possibly the potential. NEO has a $7.9 billion market cap. Now that's about 32 times its price on the market cap of currently what Neblio is. If Neblio got there, we're looking at, $540 to $560 a coin if it was going to, go to where NEO is. This is a good way to kind of look at what price is, to compare to something fairly relative, which is these three coins. You can look at a lot of different things. You can look at past performance where it did get up to $745 million market cap. I think now could be a pretty good entry. Like I said, I don't have any coins, but I'm probably going to make a small investment in it. I like passive income coins. I like making passive income, and just to make 10% extra coins a year, that's a great deal. Now I'm going to kind of tell you about things that I liked about Neblio and some of the things that I kind of am a little bit concerned about it. The things I really liked about it is the team. I think the team is really working their butt off. They are familiar with the corporate world, working at Fortune 500 companies. It is a little concerning, as though along with that is that the team has not grown to what a lot of people I think thought would be. There's not, I'd like to see a bigger team. I know they are accepting, they're trying to find more team members to work on Neblio, but you want to see a bigger team if it's going to get really big. Another thing I like about it is the GitHub. The GitHub is very solid. They're very active and they work really hard. Another plus I like about it is it's a staking coin. I like staking coins. I like making passive income. It just, instead of investing in a bunch of mining equipment, it's nice to be able to just do a full node and have that passive income. A big thing I like about it as well is the roadmap. The roadmap is fairly clear and concise, and they're hitting those goals and they're hitting the expectations. Neblio is one of the coins that's kind of almost over-delivering and under-promising. You don't see this in coins very often. Most coins are over-promising and under-delivering, and it just sets you up for discouragement after discouragement and after discouragement. Some of the concerns I have, again, is with the team size. I've talked about that. I wish it was a bigger team and that they had more people. I think this will be grown pretty quickly. We will see. Another concern I have is if they are going to accomplish everything they said they're going to. In the roadmap, they said they're going to have the version 2 suites deployed out to the public. That is a huge goal. That's a lot to do, to have in version 1 and then getting the feedback and then already having all the version 2 suites. That's a lot to do. If they are successful in accomplishing everything they have in the roadmap, this is going to be a very successful coin. The next small concern I have is the communication. They post on Twitter once a week, sometimes a little bit less than that. They do have retweets, but there's not a whole lot of communication on the Twitter and announcements. I'd like to see announcements for partnerships, maybe contests, but I think this will also be solved in Q2 with the marketing. With marketing, we could see a lot of announcements and, contests and just a whole lot of interaction with the community. Overall, I really like this coin. I think it's a great coin. The team is solid. They're delivering on their promises. They're active in their GitHub. The coin price was at $745 million. I think we can see this here in 6-7 months again at current all-time highs. I think that's easily possible, especially comparing to relative coins. I think this is very promising. Don't expect to get rich overnight with Neblio. This isn't going to go up 200-300% in a week. This, hopefully, what we want is a small, steady growth in it. But I think we can see very optimistic things coming from this. I'm excited to see the Orion web wallet and seeing all the developments in the API suites. Let's hope the best for the coin and thank the team for working so hard on this. I appreciate you watching this video. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe for more videos like this. Like and comment. I always try and get back to comments, and I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Thank you.